to my channel. This is the Canon XL1, debuted in 1998, and I believe this model is from 1999. And it takes mini DV tapes. So I think when these cameras first debuted, I think they were around like $6,000, which is crazy in my opinion. I actually weighed it, and it actually weighs 6 pounds, 12.8 ounces, I think. So like, this is a heavy camera. I mean, this thing's huge. What's cool about it though is it has this option for this huge lens hood up here. You can actually, there's this little screw right here. You can take it off if you need. And so that's the lens for it, or the lens hood. It's actually made out of rubber. It's not actually plastic. Well, maybe the part where it actually goes around the front of the lens, I think, is plastic. But the whole thing is rubber, so you could actually bump this thing around, you know, hit it on door frames and corners of walls and stuff like that, and it's going to absorb the impact really nicely. The lens diameter on the front is 72 millimeters, and what's cool about it is you also have a focus ring and a zoom ring. You have autofocus and manual focus right here. You have a button that you can push to actually autofocus it if it's on manual focus. You have an ND filter switch, so the camera will actually tell you if it is too bright outside or whatever situation that you're in, and it'll blink in the bottom left corner of the viewfinder that has the letters ND on it, and you'll turn it on and the ND will just stop blinking and it'll be on solid, I guess. And then you also have the stabilization switch on there, which you can obviously turn on and off. And you have a exposure lock, as you hit the exposure lock, and then once you have the exposure lock on, you have this little wheel. You have this little wheel down here at the bottom, and that is your iris. You can open it and close it, and that is how you do your exposure lock on this. When I bought this camera, I think I paid like what did I pay? I paid about 350 bucks for this camera. This camera actually has a DSLR style lens on it. So there's a little switch right below the exposure button. You can actually turn it clockwise, and then this whole lens actually comes off. I also forgot to mention that this camera actually has 16 times zoom on it. I haven't played around with it enough to actually see if it has a digital zoom or not. Coming around to the red area, we have a record search button. You got plus and minus. You got a EVF display on or off. D effect select on or off. We have the audio monitor, which is this little screen that you see right here, right in between the handle and the body of the camera. You can actually see your audio levels. You can turn that on or off. And then you have a light button, which I actually don't know what the light button does because there's no light on this camera at all. And then you can also flip the little door here, the little slider, and you have your menu selections. So you have the menu button to turn the menu on or off, and then to scroll up and down through the menu, and then a button to select things in the menu. This is actually really cool. So there's these little dials that are right here, and you actually push it and it pops out, and you can adjust your decibel gain on it. You can have it plus or minus, or have it right dead in the middle, or actually on auto. So I actually just left it on auto. And then you also have one for your white balance. You can pop that out and you can adjust it for your white balance. You have a custom preset, you have tungsten, and you have daylight. And then you also have an auto for that as well. You have a standby button. And then on the back of the camera here, which probably a lot of people have seen and wondered, there's this little door that actually flips out. You have all of your audio dials back here. You have your headphone levels. This is a little dial to change the loudness of your headphones, but you also have the headphone jack right there, the little green input right there. So that's where your headphones would go. And then this is something that I find actually really cool. So you have a shoulder mount right here. So what you can do is you can hold it two different ways. You can hold it like this in film so you can get down nice and low, or you can put your hand through the strap here and then you can feel like you are a news anchor, or you're on a movie set filming something. It's just a nice way to actually stabilize it too, especially if you're really far zoomed in, because you can really pull the camera towards you and it'll really stabilize it, which is something that I find really cool that this camera actually came with. And it folds up just like that when you don't want to use it. Fold it down. But you have your RCA jack, plugins or composite component, and you also have your S-Video plug-in. This is where the battery compartment goes. It's pretty self-explanatory. This one's kind of weird though, because you go from the bottom, so you'll feed it in from the bottom and then slide it up and it clicks in. This is where the tape goes, and then you have this little lever button slider thing here. Then the little door opens. And that's how you pull your tape out. Little wheel back here, and it is your AE shift. So you can turn that, and you can manually change that, positive or negative, or you can leave it right in the middle at 0, which is what I usually do. Little red button right there. There's your record button for when you are holding the camera through the strap like this, and you can hit record like that. Obviously, it's got a hand strap as the other thing. It's actually pretty comfy. I could probably tighten it a little bit, but your palm kind of wraps around it like nice and cozy and easy, and it's, you can actually hold it with one hand and move it around and all that. And it also has a photo button. You have a zoom rocker, or some people call it the seesaw zoom wheel here. So you can press forward and back on it. And this thing's actually, it's not super touchy. It's actually really nice to use to get like a nice smooth zoom on stuff. Some of the newer video cameras out there that have it, they're really touchy. I had a Canon Vixia HF-G40, and that one, it had a rocker zoom like that, and it was super touchy. So these older cameras have kind of more of a forgiving zoom rocker on it. So I really like that. I don't know if you'd call this a shotgun mic or not, but it is definitely a pretty big mic, and it sounds pretty good actually. What's cool about this camera is you don't have to just keep it all in one piece like this. Like, all this stuff actually like comes apart. So like, you can actually, there's this little guy right here you can loosen, and then you can take the mic out, and the mic actually plugs into the side of the camera here. So it comes out there, comes along and plugs into it right there. So you can take that off, and then this whole eyepiece, hot shoe mount and everything up here, actually, you can actually adjust it too. See, it slides back and forth, so you can adjust it for your eye. So really what you can do is you can adjust it. If you want to use like your left eye, you can slide it over and it'll work for your left eye, or you can keep it towards the right and use it for your right eye, depending on what eye you are more dominant with. You also have another record button up here and a little small zoom rocker right there as well. So if you're holding it handheld, you can actually get to it with your thumb up here and push record or take a photo as well. And then there's a little switch up here, or it says hold, so what it does is it locks it so that none of those functions up there are usable when you have it on hold. So that way, if you're you have it on like a tripod or something and you bump it or something, it doesn't stop recording or start recording when you want it to, or start zooming in or out or whatever. And then you also have your playback functions up here, so your rewind, your play, your stop, pause, record, and all that up on top as well. But also moving over to the viewfinder, which is actually really weird. So you notice that there's not a screen on this. So most people think that you have to hold it up straight up to your eye. Well, there's this little selector right here, and it says near or far. So what you can do is you can set it to near, so you have your eye like this, but then you can set it to far, and it'll kind of like it'll make the image kind of bigger on it, so you can actually look down and it's like a little tiny screen that you can see. And then there's a little wheel right here that actually adjusts it for your eye. So when you have your eye up to it, you can adjust it so that everything focuses to how your eye is, depending on how terrible your eyesight is and all that, which is how most viewfinders are. Even on like a DSLR camera like I'm using here, if you look through like the viewfinder, you have a little wheel on the back side so that way you can adjust it and have it focus for how your eye is. So that's actually really cool that you can use it as like a little screen, and then you can kind of adjust it to get it a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. And then I keep forgetting about all these little compartments on here. So you have a little flapper right here, which is your DV in/out. You have a remote plug in there and I assume a power source of some kind if you don't have the battery in it. So that is that little compartment. So you have this little monitor here when you go to turn it on. So the way that you turn this on is this whole wheel actually turns. So you can actually switch it. You go back with it and it'll go to the VCR, and then you can go to kind of like a quick mode. You have auto mode, TV mode, AV mode, manual mode, and then there's like a spotlight mode. It adjusts like the exposure and stuff like that on it, so that way if you're recording like a performance or something that's on a stage, you know, like with spotlights, it picks that up really well. This little screen actually shows your battery life, how much time you have on the tape, and what bit you are recording in the audio. Right now it's in the 16-bit. And if you are on long play, or is it extended play or is it short play? I don't remember. But yeah, it's on LP for long play. I think that is pretty much it, except for there's this little spot down here, as you can see. That is a little compartment for those little tiny batteries. So what that does, setting the time and date on the camera. So the little battery actually internally kept the time going on the camera. So when you turned it on, it would actually have, if your battery was good and not dead, it would actually have the current time and date displayed when you turn the camera on. So you had to have a little battery in there for it to power the little internal clock on it, which I find really strange. But yeah, that's what that was for. I think that is the entire overview or review, I guess you could say, for the Canon XL1. I think this is such a cool camera. It's huge. I definitely want to try filming some more stuff with this. If you can find yourself a cheap one of these, I definitely recommend snagging one, because I definitely feel like it is a collector's item, and you can definitely get some really good video out of this camera. And from what I understand, I mean, I haven't had any problems with the tape heads or anything like that on this. Seems like it's a pretty quality camera for how old it is. So, like I said, if you can get your hands on one, I would definitely snag one and collect it, play around with it, and have some fun with it. So anyway, that is it for the review or overview for this camera. I'm not selling this one. This one's definitely staying in my collection, but I definitely got some goofy clips with this. So enjoy my myself cooking some terrible microwavable food. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to my cooking show. Today we're gonna be I can't even do this. Today we're gonna be fixing up some microwavable chow mein. Along with it, we're gonna have some frozen Totino's pizza rolls. Bon appetit. And to finish it off, I'm gonna be eating some chocolate graham crackers. Let's get to cooking. Alright, let's go ahead and start with pulling this paper cover off. Really? Now, as you can see, there are dried noodles in here. So what you gotta do is you gotta fill this thing up, put it in the microwave for 5 minutes. Then you got your sauce here, and that's what makes it taste like something. It's supposed to be lo mein. And yeah, Chef Brandon here is gonna show you how you do it. That's about all you need. Just until it starts to float. There's a little line in there that you probably won't be able to see on the camera, but there's a little line you fill the water up to, and it just barely floats. So now we got to put it in the microwave. That baby's cooking now. Oh yeah, you can't see anything. While that is cooking in the microwave behind me, we're gonna put these Totino's pizza rolls on a plate. Fine china. Yes. Now what I do is I just turn the bag over and pour them on the plate like a normal person. Oh, see, that's too many. That is too many. That's about as much as I need right there. Take it, and you twist it, and you take your clothespin, and there you go. That's how you keep it fresh. Yep. The pasta is now done cooking, so we are now going to take it out of the microwave. Pasta. Chef Brandon. I am now going to put my Totino's pizza rolls in the microwave for about 3 minutes, and they'll probably still be frozen in the middle. Okay, so now we're going to pour the water out and then pour our packet of soy sauce or something in it. I don't know what it is, maybe teriyaki? Fork. You need a fork for this. So that way you can hold your noodles in place while you pour your water out. Innovative. Who needs a noodle strainer when you have a fork? When you have a fork, yes. Okay, that's as much water as I'm going to be able to get out. without dumping the noodles. Now you just take your packet of juice, tear it open, you dump it in. Doesn't that look appetizing? Yes. And then you throw it away. And then you make sure you stir it up nice and good. You want all of your noodles to change to a brown color. Boy, this 49-cent of noodles really does look appetizing. And then you're going to let it sit and cool down for a second. Wow, I'm actually really surprised they're actually all the way warm. Bone apple teeth. Okay, now what we're gonna do, I hope this isn't really zoomed in on my face. We're gonna get some hot sauce and pour it on the plate. We're gonna be using some ghost pepper hot sauce with the Totino's pizza rolls. This stuff is really, really hot. So you gotta be kind of careful with how much you eat. It'll definitely get hot really quick. And so for that, we have finished making lunch. This is about as far as my cooking goes. Thanks for hanging out with Chef Brandon, and thanks for watching my show. I'm not a cook at all. I can't cook. I hate cooking. So this is definitely as far as my cooking goes. And so yeah, I'm gonna eat this now. Bye.